Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? Of course, my name is Kent, and the channel is EOS San Diego. And a quick look at the prices tonight. Bitcoin still up there pretty high. EOS close to $5. Of course, it was over $5 a day ago, so I hope it gets back over there, up over $5 here very soon, as I have predicted, and much, much higher, as I predicted, because I think the month of June is going to be a very good month for prices. A lot going on, and of course, the blockchain advances every single day with new ways to use the blockchain. New ideas, new ways, new development, a lot of new things coming up on the blockchain. But I want to cover actually something that was a few months ago, but this is a very important thing, and it's more important than I think most people realize, and I'll explain why this is important. China accepts blockchain verification for evidence in courtrooms. Courts have traditionally depended on third-party notary organizations to authenticate evidence. Okay, let me talk about this for a second. So what China's doing is they're allowing evidence into the courtroom that is on the blockchain. And the reason they're allowing this as evidence on the blockchain is because, let me see here, it says, see if I can find this right here. It says a section of the document stated, okay, let's just read from the very top. China has made blockchain records admissible in court as authorities step up measures to handle internet-related legal disputes. The country's Supreme People's Court released rules last Friday clarifying the litigation process for courts newly formed to specialize in internet-related cases. A section of the document stated that the so-called internet courts shall recognize digital data as evidence if they are verified by methods including digital signatures, timestamps, and blockchains. The new rule has come into effect immediately. Okay, so what they're saying is if it's on a blockchain and it's time-stamped with the digital signature and it's on the blockchain, they're allowing that to come in as admissible evidence in a court of law. Why this is important is because the most valuable thing a people have is their legal precedents, the preceding legal cases prior to the one that's being decided. So in law, the way law works is you don't ever have a black letter law. You don't ever say, because not every black letter law will be able to fit every circumstances of every case coming up in the future. So you have a history of legal decisions that go clear back. And in the United States, it goes clear back to England and a common law. So as every time a case gets tried in court, and it's all recorded, and it's all part of the evidence and all part of the court record, that establishes precedence. Precedence is the most valuable thing a community or a people have, because it allows you to go back and look at previous decisions and decide how to progress in the future. So that is the most valuable thing people have in order to keep us free, in order to keep us safe, in order to keep us prosperous, in order to keep a community or a people surviving in an orderly fashion, in an orderly way. You need to have this written record of the court history. You got to have a written record of previous cases rendered or previous cases decided through this court precedence. Now, once the blockchain becomes part of this court record, once the blockchain becomes part of these legal decisions, then the blockchain and the legal system are intermingled and will never ever separate. Because like I say, precedence is the most important thing in a law. Every time you try a case before a judge, everybody goes back and looks for previous cases that are similar to the one that you're trying and try to establish if there was a previous trend or a previous way those cases are decided. And of course, some courts have more weight than others. U.S. Supreme Court is the highest court we have in the United States. And of course, in state courts, Supreme Courts in their state courts too. So these higher courts makes decisions. Once these decisions are made, all further cases can be influenced by that case. So this is a very important thing. And intermingling blockchain with the legal court record establishes blockchain as legal authority. Once it establishes legal authority, it becomes a very high authority. It's almost like saying, um, I remember when we've done some work in SEO work on the internet, where you get your links that link to your page is very important. The bigger the link, or if it was an educational .edu as versus something else that's just a small place linking to you, you had a lot more authority with the search engines. That's the way this is. Once blockchain becomes the authority, a legal authority, where it's actually something that's part of the record, the history of our law, the history of our lawmaking. This makes the blockchain something that is just part of our history, part of our future, and part of our past, and part of everything else. So it becomes, like they say, immutable. It becomes something that is ingrained in the fabric, in the network of our very existence, by allowing this to be part of the legal record. This is so important. I don't understand. I know a lot of people don't understand the law, or the law, but I have studied the law. Actually, I've talked about this before. I've gone to law school, studied the law, so I understand how important precedence is, how important it is to go back and look at previous cases whenever you're just trying to figure out case. And obviously, if you're a good lawyer, you will cite all those old cases that reaffirm or establish your position in the case that you're trying currently. So anyway, this is a very, 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 very big thing. The establishment, the using of the blockchain as a way to authenticate or have evidence someplace that is established on a blockchain. And I'll just continue reading. Blockchain is a form of distributed ledger that creates an online database where all participants can share and store records of transactions. Aside from its initial application in cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, some other popular use cases of this technology include supply chains, accounting, and gaming assets. While courts traditionally depend on a third-party notary organizations to authorize evidence, blockchain is a new method of verifying evidence, is secured, efficient, convenient, and low in cost. This professor, or actually is a lawyer from the law firm, says. And also it says, China is not the first to accept blockchain records as legal evidence. In 2016, the U.S. State Court of Vermont passed a law to welcome the use of blockchain data in the courtroom. So once this is happening, once this is going on, once this is actually done very routinely, then the blockchain record will be something that is part of our history, and it won't go away because it's part of our legal system. And the legal system's something that if you erase the legal system today, all of a sudden today you said there is no more case law, there's no more previous decisions, you would have chaos, complete chaos, because no one would know how decisions should be handled without a previous record to how those decisions have been handled, or how the law has evolved. You know, when a decision first comes into law, then it passes through the courts, and as it passes through the courts, then the courts continue to take that decision and apply it to a number of different circumstances and another number of different fact patterns. And as it evolves and starts to get some idea of how this is actually plays out in the real world, then you start to get a legal history for this. And once you get a legal history, then that establishes the law. The law as we know it, the law would be like the black letter law as a versus a law that has never had any previous decision. So this is what makes the law, previous decisions. And putting that on the blockchain makes the blockchain part of everything, makes part of our history of our law and part of our society. And it's just part of everything. Once that happens, then the blockchain is forever, never goes away. And of course, we continue to add to it every day. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting. I sure did. But then again, I have a legal interest, so it's probably more interesting to me than it is to most people. But I find this very interesting, Not only do I find this very interesting, I find this exciting as someone that's interested in blockchain and somebody that is following blockchain very closely. I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much.